For decades, the world's best in the halfpipe have pushed it to the limit. From pioneers to icons, every generation has raised the bar, and no one has defined the sport more than Shaun White. His vision, his legacy, his drive, it all leads here. Welcome to the Snow League, where superstars will rise. 4 global events to crown 1 world champion. And for the first time, being the best means beating the best, head to head. This is the Snow League. The future of winter sports competition has arrived.
Hi, I'm Jack Collinsworth, live from the base of the halfpipe in Aspen, Colorado, the site of so much history and tradition across winter sports. And over the next couple of days, we will look to build on that legacy as we bring you the world's best snowboarders competing head-to-head in the inaugural season of Shaun White's The Snow League. It is a 4-stop series in year number 1. We begin in Aspen, we go to China, back to Aspen, and then on to Switzerland. But there will be newness. There will be a fresh look at snowboarding, and for that we send you to Todd Harris and Chris Grenier for all the uniqueness we should expect.
All right, thank you very much, Jack. We are on the deck of this masterpiece, 600 feet in length, 24-foot walls, and Diesel, we're about to change the paradigm of competitive snowboarding.
Absolutely. Almost everything about this is changing the game for snowboarding. The creator of this event, Shaun White, and his team are going to be shaking things up right from our first run.
All right, what you need to know, we're going to start off with 16 women, 20 men. Now, everyone gets 2 runs. The top seeds out of there, they go automatically to the quarterfinals. For everyone else, you have to fight your way into those quarterfinals by way of the last chance qualifier. Then the fun really begins. Saturday, we've got March Madness in Aspen. The quarterfinals kick off, and it's a head-to-head format, knockout system, until we get champions for both the men and the women, and they walk away with $50,000.
Let me tell you what I'm excited about here, Todd. These athletes are going to have to drop in from both the left and the right wall, which means they're going to have 2 different pipe runs, which means we're going to see a deep bag of tricks.
And watching those bag of tricks are some of the best judges in the world. Speaking of judges, we've got a judging analyst in Connor Manning. He was there in 2018 at the Olympics. Connor, take it away.
Thank you, Todd Harris. We have 7 of the world's best judges down in the booth, 6 scoring judges, 1 head judge. They'll be evaluating each run on a 0 to 100 point scale using an overall impression system. That means for each run, they'll be looking at the difficulty, amplitude, variety, and execution of each run. Now, from those 6 scores, we'll be dropping the high score and the low score, averaging the remaining 4 scores for the athlete's total score. Let's throw it down to Tina and T-Bird in the studio for a little more on those Snow League athletes.
Yeah, and the Snow League did not disappoint in the group that they gathered here this weekend. We have world champions, X Games winners, 3 Olympic medalists, including the reigning Olympic gold medalist, Ayumu Hirano.
I mean, Ayumu Hirano, the man of the day here in the men's field. He has been so dominant for so long. 2014, Sochi Winter Games, he wins silver, introduces himself to the world. He follows that up in 2018 with another silver, and then in 2022, he wins his first ever Olympic gold medal in the halfpipe. However, that has created some competition. There are some Americans hot on his heels. Riders like Chase Josie, Lucas Foster, Chase Blackwell are trying to take him down here at Snow League.
Yeah, and because this is the inaugural event in the inaugural season, these athletes were invited based on previous accomplishments. But this is just the start. So not only is there money on the line, but the athletes want to make sure they secure their invite for next season.
And there's a lot of money on the line, Tina. $50,000 for the men's and women's winner just here in Aspen. However, there's also Snow League World Championship points on the line that these riders really want to accumulate to ensure they're invited back. And with all of that said, we're ready to kick things off here in Aspen. We're going to throw it back to the bottom of the pipe to Jack Collinsworth.
T-Bird, thank you, my friend. The halfpipe looks absolutely spectacular. We are ready to go. It's time to set the seating for finals day tomorrow. The women are going to hit the pipe first, and we will formulate the bracket. It's time to launch the Snow League. Competition begins when we come back.
And what a beautiful day for a half-pipe contest. And it's not just any half-pipe contest. It is the very first Snow League. Welcome again, everyone, to Aspen, Colorado. I am Tina Dixon, joined alongside Tom Monteroso, aka T-Bird. And you look at that half-pipe, T-Bird. After a day of snowing yesterday, the sun has come out and the conditions look absolutely ideal.
And that pipe is pristinely maintained, built by the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Wells. It is sunny, 25 degrees, 66% humidity. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in the valley at Aspen.
So let's take a closer look at this half pipe. It is absolutely gigantic, and you were talking about just the perfection and the work that goes into this from someone like Frank Wells. He takes a lot of pride in putting this together, and the athletes have had their practice sessions this morning, 580 feet in length. It is not short. It's a very long half pipe, and for those competitors that are starting out today and qualifying, the goal is to make it to the quarterfinals tomorrow, and it could be a very long road. So here's our first qualifying heat, starting out with Elizabeth Hosking, Brooke DeHaan, Emma Wild, and American Maddie Mastro.
Yeah, these heats are about to get quite literally heated. We have 16 of the best women halfpipe riders in the world battling it out for the first stop here in Aspen. It's going to be an incredible day.
Yeah, so today will just be all about qualifying again, making it into that quarterfinals for tomorrow. Now the format again, the winner out of each heat will automatically be placed into those brackets in the quarterfinals. Second and third will have the opportunity to compete in a last chance qualifier at the end of the day, and then fourth place, their competition is over for this stop of Snow League. So we're going to start out with Canadian Elizabeth Hosking, 23 years old. She's a two-time Olympian. She has come back from taking a break of competition due to injury, but what a way to start out here.
I mean, and what an incredible opportunity for Elizabeth Hosking, in particular, the first rider to ever drop in to a Snow League halfpipe.
I know, look at that shot. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful shot. And for this athlete, Elizabeth Hosking, to be back here in the halfpipe, the very first rider to drop at Snow League. I mean, she's got to be feeling, I would say, T-Bird, some pressure.
Yeah, and you know, for me, I don't know about you, Tina, it's just so surreal, right? It's been over a year since Shaun has announced this event. So much hype, so much pomp and circumstance. We're finally here, about to watch Elizabeth Hosking kick off the Snow League.
Let's go ahead and send her some love off the pipe.
So here we go, the first rider to drop at Snow League.
The regular footer kicking off this event with a backside 540, good amplitude in the halfpipe into a frontside 720. And there's the chicane. You do not see that trick very often in a pipe. Frontside 540, and then a huge backside air. You see that height meter, the bottom right of the screen, around 8 feet 8 inches on that last hit right there, as Elizabeth Hosking officially makes history.
Yeah, and if she was feeling any pressure, it did not show. It was a clean run, a great run to start out with for her. So how this format works, they each get 2 runs, but the best score will count towards that overall. So let's take another look at this first run.
There's that backside 540, 8 feet 7 inches out of the pipe. And that's something to talk about there, is the amplitude of these tricks. You want to maintain your amplitude, if not gain it throughout the halfpipe. That is going to score really well with our judges. There's the front side 720. Elizabeth Hosking looking real smooth.
Well, and it seemed to me, too, she just did a combination of tricks, right? She has the hawk and flip here. She had the 540, the 720, so just a big combination, but everything was really clean.
And as we wait for her score to come in, you know, we will check in with Connor Manning throughout the day. This is where the judges need to set a range. Her score coming in at 80.
And that's a great start for her. You just mentioned that the judges need to set the scale, but an 80 to start out. with the Snow League. All right, next rider to drop, Brooke DeHaan, also out of Canada, 19 years old. She made her debut in the Olympic halfpipe back in Beijing. At 16 years old, she was Team Canada's youngest athlete at the Beijing Games, and that was across all the sports.
Yeah, she grew up in Calgary, about 10 minutes from COP, otherwise known as Canada Olympic Park. That's the preeminent halfpipe spot in Canada, in all of Canada. And Brooke is getting ready. What is going through her mind right now? Tina, you've stood there before.
Well, she just saw her teammate Elizabeth Hosking drop in, and that's got to give her some confidence.
All right, the regular footer dropping into her front side wall. Starting things off with a front side 540 into a backside 360. Very blind, very technical trick, and they're spinning switch backside 7 into a backside 540. So the technicality here on Brooke DeHaan's first run as she falls on her last hit. I like where she's going with that. It's a different strategy, it's a different mentality, it's a very technical approach to a first run.
So able to point that nose down the hill.
Yeah, she had that switch backside spin really in the middle of her pipe run. And that's, like you said, that's a technical move. And then to put that in the middle as well.
As we go up to the replay here, see if we can pinpoint what went wrong for Brooke at the bottom of the pipe. There's the front side 540 tail grab. And then my favorite trick was this backside 360 on her next hit. Very, very technical. And watch how blind that trick is. There's the switch backside 720. Not many people spinning switch backside. In my opinion, it is the hardest way to spin in a half pipe.
540 for Brooke DeHaan.
And there is the front side 720. Doesn't quite get it all the way around, lacking just a little bit of amplitude to get that last 90 degrees of her spin, and she lands on her heel edge there and kind of washes out.
And again, Brooke will have one more run to try to put that down, to try to land everything. But her first run score, it is a 33.2. So yes, she will definitely want to improve upon that. And again, she does have one more run in this first heat.
And if you're Elizabeth Hosking right now on a first run score of 80, you're feeling pretty good at this point.
You're absolutely feeling really good, especially with someone like Maddie Mastro, American, who is arguably one of the favorites in this contest still to come up in the heat. But right now, we're going to go back to the top of the pipe. M.A. Wild, what a great story for her. 14 years old, competing on this stage out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
So M.A. Wild is dropping in switch right now. Let's see what her approach is going to be. Switch backside 540 into the cab 720. Frontside 540 into the backside 540. So comboing back-to-back fives, getting a lot of hits in this pipe. And, you know, at 14 years old, riding in this venue, this is a watershed moment for MA's career.
I mean, this is a big opportunity for her. I mean, again, 14 years old. She's trained under another competitor that we will see down further on throughout the day, Maddie Shafrick. But she just needs to take this experience, soak it all in, see what everyone else is doing, see how they are reacting, and just learn. And just learn from this.
And you know, one of the mantras and taglines of Snow League, new superstars will rise. You have the Shaun Whites, the Ayumu Hiranos, the Maddie Mastros. This is the future face of competitive halfpipe snowboarding.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and you're like, we could fast forward 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And this may be the name that we are speaking.
Absolutely, and playing this run from her first ever Snow League competition when she's at the top of the halfpipe ranks.
All right, so M.A. Wiles gets a 46.7 on that first run. She'll go back to the top, regroup, and we'll have one more run. All right. Whew. We're almost wrapped with the first runs here of the very first heat at Snow League. It will be American Maddie Mastro, two-time Olympian out here, probably one of the most experienced competitors in the Snow League, age 25 out of California, and I have been watching Maddie compete throughout this year, T-Bird, and I would say she is riding the best I've ever seen.
She just seems to be in a really, really good headspace. I was speaking with her earlier in the week, and she said, I know what I'm capable of. I need to trust myself. I need to trust my tricks, and I'm going to get the job done. Definitely one of the favorites. I mean, you look at her resume, 4-time X Games medalist, 3 silver medals, 1 bronze. Just last month at the LAAX Open in LAAX, Switzerland, her and Chloe Kim made history by becoming the first women to land double cork 1080s in competition. The big question, will we see the double crippler in qualifiers? Will we see the double cork 1080? Time will tell.
Yeah. So she takes
Maddie
a moment.
always takes this moment right here to just kind of center herself, get her head right, get in the right mindset. And Maddie Mastro dropping in from Oxnard, California. Starting things off with the double crippler. There it is. She comes out swinging into the backside of 540. Nearly 10 feet out of the pipe into the sky hook, the kind of Shaun White signature front side 540 stale grab. Into the front side 720. And there's the hawk and flip, the inverted cab 720. There is no doubt in my mind that Maddie Mastro is stoked right now.
Absolutely. You know, I've seen her at previous events where that first hit in qualifiers, she will just tone it down to a crippler. But no, not this time around. She goes full force with that double crippler right out of the gate. The question is, let's take another look at this, T-Bird.
I mean, the amplitude is there. Execution was good. The hand came down just a little bit toward the flat bottom. But look at the commitment on that trick. There is no half-stepping a double crippler. You have to go all in.
And just that first hit, to make it the first hit of her entire run. In her first qualifying run, I mean, she's out here to make a statement, absolutely, no doubt.
The big question now, and this is only something the judges can answer, is that better than an 80? We'll have to wait to see when scores come in.
Oh, but the pipe just looks to be in pristine condition.
See this score come in.
All right, so Maddie Mastro's first run scored, and it is a 90 out of the gate. So that will push her into that first place position for the time being. She still has one more run to improve on that. But right now, the standings look like this for the first heat in women's qualifying. It is American Maddie Mastro with the lead at a 90. Elizabeth Hosking following with 80, and then M.A. Wild and Brooke DeHaan to round out those top 4. All right, and now time for run 2, qualifiers run 2. We get back up to the top and we start again. We do this all over again. Elizabeth Hosking, we saw her with that score of an 80. It was a great run, but where do you see that she could make improvements and, you know, even get up just a little over 10 points?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough to make changes in your, the easiest thing to make a change with is amplitude. You know, go a little bit bigger, try to execute. The technicality aspect, you'd have to change your whole runaround. So let's see what Elizabeth Hosking has in store here. And she looks to be going faster and bigger. Big old backside 540 into the front side 720. You see that height meter. You want those numbers as high as possible. Going for the front side 1080, not quite able to get it around. However, I like where Elizabeth went with that run because, you know, right now, if the competition ended, she would qualify for the last chance qualifier. So she would have another shot. She's sitting on an 80. That's a good score. I mean, Maddie Mastro putting down a 90. That's tough to compete with in Heat 1.
Yeah. Yeah, so she does have that 1080. She went for it. We could potentially see her go for it, you know, in that last chance qualifier later on today. But the story I love about Elizabeth Hosking, she was a competitive soccer player. And it was in the 2010 Olympics that she watched Shaun White win the gold medal there in Vancouver. And it was at that moment that she made the decision to pursue snowboarding as a profession, and now she is here competing at Snowboarding.
Talk about a full circle moment. As Elizabeth Hosking's second run score comes in as a 26.7, she will stick with that 80. She's stuck with that 80, and now it's up to Emma Wild and Brooke Duhant to try to get up into that second place or first place spot to still have a chance.
Yeah, so we'll go back up to the top for Brooke Duhant's second run. Age 19, we saw her in that first run. She had it. She has that switch backside 7 that she does middle of the run, but her final trick she had problems with. So the question is, can she get the top part of the run and then add on that 7 and land it?
And she wants to at least get in that third place spot. Right now, she's sitting in the elimination spot, in the fourth place spot, so she's gonna have to step it up. Starting things off with a frontside 540. So there's that backside 3 setup trick into the switch backside 720. She puts it down. Backside 540 right there.
And there's the 720, and she lands it.
Okay, now we're cooking with gas. If we're Brooke Duhant, that's stayed on her feet, put down a solid run, looking to at least get into that third place spot to bump Emma Wild into that number 4 spot.
So she's got to feel really good with that. She did everything she could possibly do.
As we check out this replay here, front side at 540. Looks like she went to grab tail and just missed it, but it was around 10 feet out of the pipe, so that's good amplitude. And there's that switch backside 720 that gave her some problems on run 1, so she did clean it up. And I would imagine that's going to be a little bit better than a 33.25 that she's currently sitting on.
And that's the 720 that she had problems with on her first run. And she lands it this time around.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty solid score for Brooke Duhant.
World-class athleticism. Run 2 score.
So she improves upon that 33.2, gets a 66, slots her into that third place spot. So right now, she is she does have the potential to be in the last chance qualifier. We still have Emma Wild to take her second and final run.
14 years old. From Steamboat Springs, Colorado, dropping in switch. This is Emma Wild. Switch backside 5. Into the switch frontside 720. Another frontside 540.
Frontside 540.
She's going for those back-to-back 540 combos.
And again, a landed run from her. You know, for someone that is competing in the same half pipe and watching someone like Maddie Mastro do her thing and score those scores of a 90, just, you know, I said it before, it's such valuable experience to stand at the top of the pipe, feel those nerves, see the cameras, the energy, everything that goes through an athlete's mind when you're put into this setting, and it's invaluable. You cannot train that environment.
Absolutely, and a big part of competitive snowboarding is the mental mindset you have to have, and that just requires hundreds, if not thousands of hours just being in this environment, right? She's 14 years old, exposed to the biggest half-pipe snowboarding event in the history of our culture. All good things for Emma Wild.
Yep. So she will improve on that first run score with a 55.5.
One more time, let's hear for Amy Wild.
But Emma Wild putting on a good show here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she has down the road. All right, one more athlete left to go, and she's already secured her spot into the qualifiers, and that is American Maddie Mastro with a 90. So at this point, T-Bird, the question is, what does she do? Does she do something harder, throw something different?
Yeah, this is one of those things where is this going to be a victory run, or is Maddie going to look at it as like, hey, I'm in the finals or the quarterfinals tomorrow. Let's just take another practice run.
Well, and one thing that we have to point out for tomorrow also, you know, Chris Grenier talked about this, they have to drop in on both sides of the wall. So that's going to be a whole new format that these athletes are not used to doing.
Yeah, and based on the score from today, riders will be seeded 1 through 8. So if you lock down that 1 seed for tomorrow, you have a distinct competitive advantage.
All right, so she just goes for the single crippler on that first hit.
Backside 540. Maddie's amplitude is so impressive. There's the sky hook, the frontside 540 stalefish grab. And the frontside 720. Will it be the hawk and flip? Indeed it will. Maddie Mastro simplifies it from run 1, but just as clean.
Yeah.
There you have it, Maddie Mastro from heat number 1.
And she's got to feel really good with that score of a 90. You know, that scale is out of a 0 to 100, so the 90 is a great score. You know, at other contests, we usually see the winners in the high 80s, the low 90s. So already with a 90 in the qualifying, she's sitting on, she's in a good position right now.
Yeah, absolutely. She's in a really good spot to get a really top seed for quarterfinals. And right now, if you're Maddie Mastro, Elizabeth Hosking, and Brooke Duhant, it's job done for now, right?
Yep.
Because Elizabeth Hosking and Brooke Duhant will make it for the last chance qualifier. Maddie Mastro can be done for the day. She can go rest. She's riding tomorrow in quarterfinals.
Oh, yeah, she can breathe a sigh of relief, but look at the style on that.
The skyhook style of 540.
Yeah, Maddie is just such a smooth rider in the half pipe, and her score coming in from the judges, it'll be a 77.5, so she's going to stick with that run 1 score of 90, and she is officially in quarterfinals tomorrow.
All right, well, let's take a look at the results from this first qualifying heat in the women's competition. It is Maddie Mastro that will move on to quarterfinals with a score of 90. Elizabeth Hosking and Brooke Duhant we will see later on in the last chance qualifiers. But let's head down to the bottom of the half pipe where Chris is with Maddie.
We're here with Maddie Mastro, our Heat 1 winner. You came out of the gate swinging, double crippler. What's your strategy going into this thing?
Well, I wanted to put one down first and kind of like hopefully take away a little bit of the pressure. I was pretty nervous up there, so I was like, I might as well give it a really solid try first run, and hopefully that will calm my nerves. So yeah, and it worked, so that's good.
Well, congrats. Good luck in the next round.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here and be back with more from the Snow League. Welcome back, everybody, to Aspen, Colorado for Snow League. We are in the women's qualifying competition and just about to start the qualifying heat number 2. Here's a look at our competitors: Zoe Kalapos, Rocky Weinberg, Sonora Alba, and Sai-Shu Tong. And you look at this list, out of these competitors, T-Bird, I would say Sai-Shu Tong is the one to really keep our eyes out for to qualify in that number 1 spot out of this heat number 2. We just wrapped that heat first. For those of you who are just joining us, Maddie Mastro just guaranteed her position into the qualifiers. But right now, we're going to go to the top of the pipe. This is American Zoe Kalapos, age 27 years old, coming back from injury also. I'd say I talked to her earlier. She got back into the half pipe about the end of December and just more than anything was excited to be back here. She says she's been building up her confidence. But you look down at that half pipe and you're just like, oh, that looks like so much fun to ride.
Yeah, it really does. I got to take a run through it the other day when we were filming some stuff for the show, and that thing is so big.
It's so big.
So big.
Yeah.
All right, so Zoe getting ready. She was a member of the U.S. Olympic team 2022. She's got that Olympic experience. She's ridden in some of the biggest halfpipe events the world over. First time ever dropping into Snow League.
You know, she's got a cool story too. Her father is her coach actually, and has gone through some of the education and the requirements that he needs to actually qualify as a coach, to be a legitimate coach. And she says it's great to have him at the top of the half pipe cheering her on.
So good for your mental state, right? There's a frontside 540 from Zoe into the backside 5. As you see that height meter graphic bottom right of the screen, frontside 720, and looking at the light right there, Tina, the way the pipe is oriented, the athlete's left wall's in the blazing sun and the right wall's in the shade. That does create a little bit of a vision contrast in the light.
Yeah, so Zoe Kalapos, her first run, got her 4 heats, had problems near the bottom, will have one more run to try to improve on that.
So there is the front side 7. Let's see what went wrong here. Got her grab, held onto it super well. Maybe just opened up a little bit too early, didn't get the full rotation.
Yeah, and then going back to what I was saying with her father actually sits in a gray chair from Zoe's grandmother. So he just brings his snacks up there, coaches her, so she'll go back up, work with her father, and try to get a run, improve on that run, and that score of a 22.7. All right, Rocky Weinberg will be your next competitor. 15 years old, also out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And I also talked to her earlier, and what does this young lady not do? She is involved in so many different things, from backpacking to fly fishing to track.
She loves the great outdoors. She definitely loves fresh air. She's getting some on that huge backside air into the front side 720. That first hit about 8 feet out of this half pipe. Frontside 540 from Rocky Weinberg. There's the crail. You don't see those very often. Throwback to the days of old. Little alley-oop and then finishing it off with a slash. I think if you're Rocky, you're just hyped right now. You stayed on your feet, you put down a run, you see where the judges are going to put that in the range, and you build up from there.
Yeah, 6 hits. We sometimes see competitors only do 5 hits. So she does get the 6 hits in the half pipe.
And look at, she ollies so hard to get as much speed as she can for that backside air. That was definitely her biggest hit of her run. 8 feet, 2 inches out of the pipe. And again, this is 2 runs, right? So you're looking at where your score comes in. You make those adjustments once you see that score. But unfortunately, for all of these riders, once they're done with 1 run, they only have 1 more to improve upon to try to make it into that last chance qualifier, or to automatically qualify tomorrow into quarterfinals.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you want to qualify into the quarterfinals. You don't want to go to the last chance qualifiers. You know, this is the first time that we've really seen even an option for a last chance qualifiers.
Yeah.
So that's also new. So Rocky Weinberg's score coming in with a 42.2. That will put her into the first place spot for this heat number 2, and she will have 1 more run to improve upon that. American Sunny Alba will be dropping in next, and she's had a very busy season, going to a lot of the contests. She earned 2 top 10 World Cup finishes last year in the 24-20, or actually this year in the 24-25 season. Best finish so far was 5th in Aspen just a few weeks ago in this half pipe.
All right, so getting in that mindset, getting her head right. You see the legendary halfpipe rider, Danny Cass, one of her coaches, standing up at the top of the halfpipe as Sunny Alba starts things off with a huge backside air. Plenty of amplitude on that one. Into the front side 7. Sunny Alba is looking great in the pipe here in Heat 2, Run 1. There's the backside 540. I gotta say, she's doing a really good job of keeping that amplitude. Alley-oop McTwist, I think that's gonna be a good score.
Well, for sure that's gonna that's going to be the #1 score for this second heat. And you can see just how excited she was for that run. And to finish off with that alley-oop McTwist, you don't really see those tricks much anymore. But Sonora Alba, with the nickname of Sunny, flies out of the pipe on this first hit.
Yeah, I was chatting with her a couple days ago, and she just said what she was looking forward to most in Snow League is just the fact that it was just a shakeup of that traditional competitive format, something new, something fresh, and something with a lot of excitement behind it. And she really showed up for run 1 of Heat 2. I think this is going to be a really good score. There is that alley-oop McTwist that she capped off her run with, and I'm excited to see where the score comes in.
That was a great run for her. Just everything so clean. Showed a lot of variety as well in that run. So Sonora Alba with some really big scores coming in, and an 86.7 will launch her into the first place spot in this second qualifying heat for the women.
That's the second highest score of the day. Maddie Mastro last heat put down a 90. Sunny Alba follows that up with an 86.7.
That was a great run for her. I mean, that was one of the best runs I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was
in a competition.
Incredible run. However, look who's dropping in now.
Oh yeah, keep your eyes on this athlete. Saishu Tong out of China, and talk about experience. 4-time Olympian. She has improved her result in every Olympics. It just keeps getting better and better. 14-time World Cup winner.
And her best finish in 2022 was 4th place, so all signs are pointing to her time being now. Starting things off with a big backside air into a frontside 900. Backside 5, and she washes out.
And that is unusual. That is actually very unusual to see her fall.
Yeah, and that was on the shady wall. I mean, you see that looker's right side of the pipe is pretty slushy. It's warming up. It's a little softer, and that looker's left side is still a sheet of ice.
Yeah. So here's a look. Yeah, what you just talked about, you know, could have been a visibility thing. Again, she'll have one more run to go back up and land that run. You know, she's a very, very consistent half-pipe rider. So this is unusual to see her fall.
Well, and it goes back to that experience, right? She's such an experienced, seasoned competitor. That initially tells me her mental mindset is going to be set. This is not going to shake her.
No.
She's going to put it behind her, go back up top, try to get that 1, 2, or 3 spot to stay alive in this competition.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. But the scores right now, she has a big job to do, because right now it's Sonora Alba with the lead in the second qualifying heat. 86.75, Rocky Weinberg holding down that second spot. But again, all the athletes have one more run. So let's head to the top of the half pipe for the qualifiers, run 2. And again, it's Zoe Kalapos with her second run, age 27. She had problems about middle of the run on that looker's left side of the wall. So that's where we need to keep our eyes out for and what she does there.
Yeah, and right now the main goal is to get out of that number 4 spot. That is the elimination seat. Get up into that top 3 and either come up through the last chance qualifier or take out Sunny Alba in that first place spot and automatically advance to quarterfinals. Starting things off with a backside air, grabbing her heel edge into the front side of 540, and it does look like that sun is starting to fade just a little bit. That light might be getting a little flat. Front side 720.
So that's where she fell on the first run. She lands it down that time.
Okay, so I mean, looking to improve upon a 22.75 in her first run. I think she's headed in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, right now we have Connor there with the judges. Connor, what can you tell us about the score so far and what you're seeing?
Judges, the resident eavesdropper in the judges' booth. They are really rewarding the amplitude and the execution of these riders. So getting their grabs, holding onto the grab all the way through the spin, landing clean and staying on that edge into your next hit, as well as the difficulty of trick. That amplitude adds difficulty to the trick, and if you're doing a difficult trick as well, that's why we saw Sunny Alba and Maddie Mastro go into those top 2 scores.
I mean, it's true. It's when you ride the half pipe and you go big, it just makes everything so much harder, so much more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking about competitive half-pipe snowboarding, the one thing that you can control, you can't control the weather, you can't control the light, you can control your speed and amplitude, and that is what speaks volumes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so great to have Connor there with the judges to get his insight and kind of peek in on what's going on in there. So Zoe Galapos does improve, gets a 47 for that run, and that bumps her up into second spot. So right now she does have that chance to make the last chance qualifiers at the end of the day. We still have 2 more competitors left to go in this heat too. And you're now looking at Rocky Weinberg, 15 years old, with her second run.
All right, so Rocky currently sitting in that 3rd place spot, ollieing hard to take as much speed into that first hit as possible, starting things off backside 540 into the front side 720.
720 coming in for a switch hit now. Weaken out the cab 3, back around the forward here.
And then a cab 3 into a front side 5. There's that crail. You know, Danny Cass is loving that crail. That was his bread and butter in the early 2000s.
He's like, hey, I got a trick for you to
Yeah, you should try this out.
Let's do this. So Rocky Weinberg wraps up her second run. You know, when I was talking to her earlier, when she got the invite here, she just said it was pure excitement and then just straight into like hard work and man, I gotta put my runs together here, and she really did. Look at that.
7 feet out, backside 5, reaching for that grab, not quite able to get it, and those are the tiny little intricacies that as we focus here in the booth on that kind of the global picture of how these heats are going, the judges are really, really nitpicking every little aspect of every single hit.
She's got a really unique style that she's bringing to her snowboarding.
I mean, just right there, grabbing roast beef. That's through the legs on the heel edge. It's not something you typically would expect to see from a 15-year-old.
No, these are the kind of grabs and the kind of shots that you see, you know, on Instagram or the mat. You know, it's that style part of snowboarding.
Yeah, and you know, as we're waiting for Rocky's score to come in, we are seeing changing light conditions. We're going to check in with Connor Manning, see how the judges are factoring that into their scoring.
Yeah, T-Bird, these judges here are looking at, they're realizing, I'm looking at them right now on their screen, seeing this light change. And what's actually going on is, yeah, they're taking it into advantage, but they've got to keep that range exactly all the way through to keep it fair for all of the riders.
Yeah, thanks so much, Connor. And it's true, you got to be fair, right? Like the judges do factor that in. It's an outdoor sport, conditions change. These athletes are used to changing conditions and they know how to adapt. You know, lens in the goggles, they have become so much better throughout the years to really help see the snow better when the light changes. All right, Sunny Alba, right now she is sitting in that top spot, 86.7. That is a great score, but she knows that Sai Shu Tong is still to go. And Sai Shu Tong can easily get a score that high or higher. So right now, Sunny just needs to put it together and maybe add a few more points to that.
Absolutely. I'll be interested to see if she sticks with the same run as her first run. Her amplitude sure has increased, I'll tell you that much. Frontside 720. Sunny is going huge into the cab 720. Frontside 540. Keeping her amplitude throughout the pipe. The judges are really going to love to see that. There's that alley-oop McTwist, and you can tell she is psyched right now.
2 for 2 for Sonora Alba.
and just landing 2 runs in a row, staying on your feet. I mean, look at her highest air was 13.5 feet out of that pipe. She's got to be feeling really good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, her body language says that. But I love this air T-Bird. I mean, just huge out of the pipe.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. And the style on that, Sunny Alba,
So
she's
great.
having a day right now. There's that front side 720. Just grabs onto the toe edge of her board, holds it throughout.
And the landing, I love how she lands here and just rides away, focuses on the next wall.
I love a good alley-oop McTwist. It's just a timeless trick in the half pipe. One of my favorite tricks to watch in the pipe. So the big question now, Tina, will it top 86.75, her first run
2
score?
great runs there for Sunny Alba.
All right, as we wait for the scores,
Rocking the number 16
you can see
on the Snow League jersey.
what the judges really
athletes
liked. That
Getting
first
to pick
air,
their own
the
numbers. Again,
720.
fun conversation to have with the athletes to see if there's
And it's going to be close. It's an 84.5, so she'll sit on that 86.7, still in that top spot. One more rider left to go in this qualifying heat, and it's Saishu Tong. She fell in her first run. She got a 26. She just needs to throw that out of her mind and do what she knows she can do.
And at the start of this event, did you even think it was a possibility going into run 2 that Saishu Tong would be in 4th place right now,
No.
which is the elimination seed?
No, absolutely not.
Starting things off with a backside air grabbing method into the front side 9, landing really low on that transition. But that right there just shows the strength of Saishu Tong. Air to fakie into the cab 720. If she stays on her feet, it's going to get interesting, and in fact, she did.
So that's the athlete that we're used to seeing from her. That's the type of run we're used to seeing from her. It was a good run. She landed it. She got that 540 around and landed that. Obviously, will improve on that 26. But is it enough to beat Sonora's score of an 86.7 and guarantee her a place in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, right now, you know, looking at it from a mathematics standpoint, she needs to get better than a 47. I think she has a pretty good chance at doing that, but then she would have to come up through the last chance qualifier.
Yeah. And that's, again, what going back to your point, Saishu Tong, when I looked at this list, I would say she's going to qualify into the quarterfinals. But now it's just now a question of, will she get into the last chance qualifiers at this point?
Absolutely.
With that run, yeah, I'm going to say yes. There's a very good chance she will.
But how big of a win would it be for Sunny Alba if she just automatically qualified
So great.
into tomorrow?
All right, scores coming in. And it's an 83.5. That slots her into second. So Saishu Tong, we will see her later on in the last chance qualifier along with Rocky Weinberg. But Sonora Alba qualifies in that #1 spot, 86.7, and she's down there at the bottom of the pipe with Chris.
Okay, we're here with Sunny, launching the alley-oop McTwist, winning Heat 1, 18 years old. Heat 2, how does it feel?
It feels really good. I am kind of, I don't know, out of words. I'm really nervous about that alley McTwist, but happy to put it down.
Congrats, good luck in the next round.
Congrats to Sunny Alba. We'll take a quick break and be right back with more from Snow League.
Alba, they have secured their spot in the finals bracket tomorrow, halfway through the women's heats. The next 2 heats currently set to warm up there in the half pipe. Jack Collinsworth, Tina Dixon, and Todd Harris. Our first look at the pipe. So what stood out thus far? Great calls.
Oh, thank you. I mean, first of all, the pipe's in great condition, right? These are ideal conditions. We want the sun to come back out. We want that light to stay good. But really impressed with Maddie Mastro dropping into that first run and going for the double crippler. You know, you don't always see that in a qualifier, but that tells me that she means business here at Snow League.
It was a huge moment. I mean, she comes out, and we've seen Maddie Mastro do that trick before, but to do it on the very first run in the first round at Snow League, I think it says a lot of her mentality and what she's thinking about this competition. She's just not coming here to make a showing. She's coming to make a statement.
So best first impression thus far, who would you say?
Sonora Alba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that I said it earlier in the runs when I was calling them, and I think that's the best I've ever seen her ride. I mean, she just was consistent on both runs. She had so much style. Everything was there. Everything added up for Sonora Alba, and really at the right time. I mean, it's just qualifying, but I would not have expected her to qualify in that first spot out of her qualifying heat. I mean, she's guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals at this point, and with a really good score of an 86.7.
But now, there is something to be said, though, and she does qualify, and congratulations to her and Maddie Mastro. They get in, they get 2 runs, they're done for the day, so they're set. Yep. But with this pipe in this format, I would say some of the athletes might say, you know what, I would be okay with making a couple extra runs going forward. And I think Sai Shu Tong, although we saw her fall, I think she's going to be very good. But I mean, Tina, we've seen her in competition before. She is a gamer. She will come to play. You give her more rope, she will take it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, when we get to that head-to-head format, notice where we're seeing these riders drop in on the half pipe. You know, Maddie Mastro dropped in from that left side, hitting that right side first, and same with Sonora Alba. So now when it comes to the head-to-head matches, they have to go both sides of the wall. Yeah.
How has the knockout format impacted the mindset that you've seen from the athletes thus far?
I think it's going to be huge. And I think for someone like Maddie Mastro, who has a preferable side and does amazing things on that side, it's going to force her out of her comfort zone. But I think she's a good enough rider. She's a great rider, let's be honest, that she's going to rise to the occasion. I think some of the younger athletes might say, you know, this is not where I like to do it. I like to do it this way every single time. And I think that's part of progression. Puts you in an uncomfortable position and see who rises. And I think we're going to find out pretty quick who can ride both sides of the pipe.
Last chance qualifier, that's already starting to look a little interesting as well, huh?
Yeah. I mean, let's see here. I would think Sai Shu Tong is going to make it through that last chance qualifier. The first heat, you know, who could we look at? You got Elizabeth Hosking and Brooke DeHaan. They're going to be battling it out. Both 2 Canadians, both phenomenal riders. They had they had good runs. I can't pick one between them. It's going to have to be their job to do that.
Elizabeth Hosking, though, is going to forever be a trivia answer. Yeah. Who had the first run at the Snow League? Elizabeth Hosking of Canada. Congratulations.
And I love the story of Elizabeth Hosking, though. It kind of comes back to Shaun White. When she watched Shaun White win gold at the Vancouver Olympic Games.
Cypress Mountain.
That's when she made her decision. She saw that and she's like, no, I want to be, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do.
How about the upcoming women's heats? What has your attention?
I'm telling you what. Keep your eye on the Japanese riders. They are loaded. Mitsuki Ono is the one I'm looking for. I think she's going to be a player for the overall. I just think the Japanese riders, if they can get over the jet lag, all the travel they've done since November, and rise to the occasion here, that's who I think. I think Mitsuki Ono will be someone that we'll be talking about on the final day.
And also Gaon Choi out of South Korea. She is a phenomenal rider. She's very quiet. She just kind of, you know, just lets her riding do the talking for her. But when she drops into the half pipe, just expect some very, very big airs from her.
How about for Heat 4? What are you watching there?
Again, Japanese riders. In Heat 4, I think it's going to be Sena Tamita. That's who I like the best. Maddie Shafrick is such a great story, though. Yeah. I think Maddie Shafrick, if she can get her run in, especially do I'm going to call this now a Maddie Mastro, come out swinging on the first run, because Maddie told Chris, she said, I want to come out and make a statement, and she did that. Yeah. Now, if she'd followed on that first run, it's a totally different story for Maddie Mastro. But I think Maddie Shafrick is capable of doing that. But Sena Tamita, again, another Japanese rider that is just competition savvy, Jack. And what I mean by that is they come out and they just go to work.
I think what Maddie Shafrick's advantage is her variety, and she does tricks that a lot of the other women don't do. So she kind of brings it back to some of the, I'd say, OG like half pipe tricks.
I like where you're going, yeah.
She does, and she kind of brings that style in, and that is going to be her advantage.
Okay, how about we go to our OG one time? Chris Grenier, he's out there. It's a good start for Team USA, and Chris has more as we send it his direction.
We are here with 2-time Olympic silver medalist, one of the greatest snowboarders of all time, Danny Cass, and now he's the current coach of the U.S. snowboard team. And 2 of your athletes made it on to the next round. How does it feel, Danny?
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. We're just blessed with really good weather out here. Aspen's delivering, great half pipe, and just getting through those first 2 rounds and getting, my 2 riders in was incredible. It's just, it's scary to get to those last chance final, into there. So looking really forward to the rest of the day.
What are you telling your athletes when you're up at the top?
Usually I try and make them laugh. Sometimes they go before. Like, I accidentally farted really close to one of the other athletes, and that was a good one for an icebreaker. And really just about like focusing on a couple of the key points that they need to focus on within their riding, and then let the rest just take its place.
Well, you're doing a great job. We're going to throw it back down to the studio and catch up with the guys in the booth.
Hey, thanks a lot, Diesel. And seeing DK out there, guys, I mean, that's so good. I remember calling him when he was racing and competing in Tina. He was one of those competitors that came out and he never took it too seriously. He was always having fun. And so for the fact that he's breaking the ice with some of his antics to keep his riders, he's like a proud parent. He just wants to keep the kids loose, keep them happy. That's DK.
Coaching style of, I just got to make them laugh. It worked.
It's important, especially at the start of the competition.
2 for 2.
It can truly be. When we come back, the final 2 women's heats headed your direction. We are just getting started. The Snow League has launched from Aspen.
Welcome back, everyone, to Snow League here in Aspen, Colorado. We are halfway through the women's qualifying event. And before we get underway with the 3rd heat, we're going to send it down to another member of our broadcast team, Naoko Funiyama. Naoko.
Hey, thanks, Tina. Well, the Japanese have been so dominant in this sport. Their fearlessness, their technical prowess, but at times they can kind of vibe a little bit reserved, and that's cultural. I'm hoping to bridge that cultural and language gap because they have told me already how pumped they are to be here this weekend. And even though they're a little bit nervous about the format, a little bit jet lagged, as you guys mentioned, they are so excited to have gotten the invitation to come here.
Thank you. Yeah, and we are so excited that the Japanese riders are here. Yes, you mentioned it. She mentioned it. They are a little jet lagged, but they are here to perform, and they are some of the favorite competitors out here. Well, let's take a look at heat number 3 here at women's qualifying. Lu Jiayu out of China will be the first to drop, followed by Isabel Leuscher, Gaon Choi out of South Korea, and Mitsuki Ono. Again, another favorite out here from Japan.
Yeah, and when I got the start list this morning, I looked at Heat 3, and I was like, this heat is packed with talent.
I am glad I'm not competing in Heat 3. That is this heat, I'd say, out of all of the heats, is going to be the most difficult to get that number 1 spot.
Yeah, and what do they call it in World Cup soccer? The group of death. This is our group of death. It is going to be very, very hard to make it out of heat number 3 to advance either through the last chance qualifier or straight into tomorrow, as Lu Jiayu, the regular footer with 4 Olympic appearances under her belt, drop it in switch.
For her first hit, the switch method air.
Switch method, the technicality. I mean, Connor's got to be here. The judges talking right now. They're like, switch method to start your run?
Yeah, that's again another trick that it's so subtle. It doesn't look very difficult, but it is so hard to do.
And you can tell right now she is very happy with that run. Top to bottom, one of the cleanest, most technical, mixed with amplitude, one of the best runs we've seen today, I think.
Yeah, and it's impressive too because she hasn't had a lot of time in the half pipe, only a few weeks. She had a lot of time at school this summer getting her PhD in mechanical engineering, so a very versatile person off the mountain, but that switch method like you talked about.
Yeah, you really don't see a lot of riders in the men's or women's field even doing switch methods, let alone 9.5 feet out of the pipe. There is the Håken flip, named after one of the best pipe riders of all time, Norwegian Terje Håkonsen. Opens up a little early, lands a little bit late, but can't find much wrong with that trick other than that, ending things with a frontside 5. You see the little mini celebration after that, the relief that these riders feel after putting one to their feet on run 1.
And I liked that bottom trick. It almost had more amplitude than the previous trick, so a great way to finish things off. The scores for the Olympic silver medalist from 2018, a 77 to start out with for Liu Jiayu.
She's got to be feeling good about a 77.
Yeah, especially after not riding for a long time leading up to this event. All right. Isabelle Leuscher out of Switzerland, a goofy-footed rider, 20 years old. You can see her take a big, deep breath before dropping into this half pipe.
Yeah, she finished in 7th place at the 2023 World Championships, and she is getting Run 1 at Snow League underway. Front side 720 into the cab 7, averaging about 7-8 feet on those first couple hits. There's the inverted frontside 540 into the backside 5. So comboing 2 7s, 2 5s, and a little alley-oop on her last hit, and you can tell she's stoked.
And I want to point out, we don't get to see her compete much at the World Cup level or, you know, the higher level. So for her to put together a run like that she just did, it was clean, it was landed. It had the difficult tricks.
Yeah, and when you talk about, you know, future superstars in our sport, she competed in the 2020 Youth Olympics, finished in 6th place, and it's really just a consecutive run of bigger and bigger events, building that confidence, building the tricks, the mental stamina that it takes to compete on this level. You can actually see that forming in Isabelle Leuscher.
So she wraps up her first run here in the qualifying heat number 3. Scores coming in, and it's a 72, and that will put her into the 2nd spot, and she still has one more run to improve upon that. All right, to the top of the half pipe. This rider has just taken on half pipe riding just by storm, dropped into the half pipe and put everyone on notice at a very young age of 14 years old when she won her X Games gold medal. 16 years old now, Gaon Choi out of South Korea.
And dropping in switch. She really likes to spin switch backside, and that is a switch back 9 on her first hit into the cab 720. And a front side 9, and we were saying a little bit earlier that, you know, that Looker's left side of the pipe is still in the shade, even as the sun is starting to go away. So it's going to be a little bit more firm than the Looker's right wall.
And she is a powerful rider. You can see it, you know, compared to some of the other competitors, that she just dives into that half pipe and goes. She has so much speed and so much power.
Look at the height meter, the arrows on the left, starting off at 7 feet, going up into the 9s, and I feel like if she didn't fall, she was gonna go bigger. She was gaining amplitude throughout her run. And that right there, switch backside 900, hands down the most technical trick we've seen today. It is so blind and so terrifying to spin switch backside, especially on your first hit at that speed.
So she had the run going. And then this frontside 900.
Yeah, totally washed out on her toe edge right there. And that just speaks to the conditions. It's that wall's just a little bit firmer than the left wall.
But this gives us a taste of what she is capable of and how she rides. She does have one more chance, one more run to go up there in this qualifying heat to try to put a bigger score on the board and improve upon that 33.5. All right, the 4th rider in this heat, number 3, Mitsuki Ono out of Japan, 21 years old. Again, another rider that just launches out of the half pipe. 12 career World Cup podiums. Very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely incredible young rider. Mitsuki Ono in the pipe, starting things off with a frontside 900 tail grab into the backside 5. She lost a little bit of speed on that second hit, but she gained that amplitude right back with a frontside 720 into the cab 720. And if she can finish strong right now, she might give Liu Jiayu a run for her money. I like where the height meter's at. I like the trick selection. I like the combos. She got 5 hits in the pipe, her highest air, 9 feet out of that half pipe. Here's that frontside 900, gets the grab, spots her landing, stops it high up on the wall.
The thing I noticed with her too is everything seemed just so subtle and easy looking.
Very smooth style. I love watching Mitski ride half pipe. So the score to beat right now from Liu Jiayu, 77. So can Mitsuki Ono bump up into those 80s, get into that top spot?
Looks like we need to better the 77.
Pretty good. 85.5. Very well deserved. That slots her into the top spot here for Heat 3 of women's qualifying, with still one more run to go for these competitors. So we're just going to do this all over again, go back up to the top. But here's where the standings look like after that first run. Mitsuki Ono, 85.5, followed by Liu Jiayu, 77, and Isabel Leuscher, 72. But Gaon Choi, that's the surprise right here, and we need to keep our eyes out for her.
Absolutely, because if Gaon Choi had put that run to her feet, she's hands down, without question, in the 70s, 80s. Yeah. Where, I don't quite know. So I guess the group of death continues on.
All right, Liu Jiayu for her second run, sitting on a 77.
I could watch that switch method all day. I really like the look of a switch method. Into the cab 720, dipping that shoulder. Into the inverted front side 5, then the back 5. The way that she's keeping her amplitude.
Well, not only keeping it, building on it. Those 2 last hits were almost the biggest hits that she had.
Absolutely. And she just got bumped out of first place, down into second by a solid 7.5 points.
Look at that smile. Yeah, spending her summers in school and then coming out and riding in Snow League and performing like this, and 2 solid runs from her.
Yeah, and then you see that switch frontside 7. You'll hear us refer to it as cab. That is named after one of the most legendary skateboarders of all time, Steve Cavallero. And there is that crippler.
Matching up the transition, landing nice and high there.
And the backside 540, grabbing that toe edge with her front hand. So waiting for that score to come in. Will it be higher than her first run score, 77? Even more so, will it be higher than 85.5?
It is, it's an 82.5. She stays in that second spot for now, but it's an improvement. And right now, she is going to the last chance qualifier, but 2 more competitors left to go, including Gaon Choi, that 4th rider. But right now, it's Isabel Leuscher sitting on a 72 and sitting in 3rd.
So the goofy footer from Switzerland dropping in here for run 2 in heat 3. Inverted front 7 into the cab 720. Looks like she's gonna stick, pretty similarly to her first run, try to clean things up a little bit. Currently sitting in that 3rd place spot, going for the 9. Frontside 900, not quite enough juice on that. We're gonna check out the replay, but 72. Okay, so Tina, you're Isabel Leuscher. You're sitting in 3rd place. You are in the last chance qualifier in 3rd place right now. However, Gaon Choi sitting on a 33.5. How are you feeling?
You're nervous. You're absolutely nervous. I mean, and here's the thing. So Gaon Choi, again, there's that question of, did you expect to see this? No, we would have thought that Gaon Choi would have secured that in her first run. But you know what? That's why they get the 2 runs. It's the best of 2. So she has one more chance. Really, all Gaon Choi needs to do, if she wants to get into that last chance qualifier, is get a score higher than a 72. 92.
Exactly.
Very capable. She's very capable of that. If she wants to guarantee her spot in the quarterfinals, she needs higher than an 85.5. Very capable of that.
All right, and Gaon Choi dropping in. She's riding switch right now. There's that switch backside 900, just as clean as the one she put down in run 1. There's the frontside 9 that gave her trouble in run 1. She rides away clean into the backside 9. So 3 different 900s from Gaon Choi.
And then she got out of the pipe as fast as she could.
Don't risk it.
Yeah.
Do not risk it.
Yeah, and yeah, what I saw, okay, she is going to get higher than a 33.5.
Yes.
No doubt. Only had 4 hits compared to some of the other competitors at 5. However, those hits were so technical and so big.
And here's the thing you'll see on the replay, specifically on this hit. Right here, look at how far she travels down the pipe, right? It's not always about how high you go. Some riders travel further down the pipe, therefore giving them less hits than some of their competitors.
Well, and the fact that she drops in switch with that switch backside 9, I mean, right out of the gate, she's making a statement. And then when she landed that front side 9, to me, it almost looked like she toned it down just a little bit. The wall's a little icy. Let's just bring it back a notch.
Yep, stay on your feet, get into the top 3, and figure it out from there. So you can tell judges deliberating a little more than usual right now. So you see 900, a switch 7, 2 more 9s. That's a 4-hit run from Gaon Choi. That is ridiculous.
My run includes all 900s. Oh, I'll throw a 720 in there, just, you know, just because.
This afternoon.
All right.
It's in the judges' hands right now, taking their time, dissecting this run.
Well, there's a 92. You see it, an 88.7, and she has done it. She started off that run in 4th place, is now taking the top spot in qualifying Heat 3, and we will see Gaon Choi in the quarterfinals.
And now everything changed for Mitsuki Ono. She was sitting in 1st place and qualifying into tomorrow automatically.
Yep.
She's now got to drop and try to improve her score by more than 3 points.
She had such a good run, Mitsuki Ono, on that first run. Such a good run.
Yeah.
Can she find a little over? Can she find that difference?
I think so. And I think where she has the best opportunity to find those 3 some odd points is amplitude. Go big, do the same run, go as big as you can, use those edges. And it certainly looks like she's doing that front side 720 into the cab 7, 8 feet 3 inches out of the pipe. There's the front side 9 tail grab. So that was huge.
And she's mixed up her run. She's mixed up where she's putting the tricks in her half pipe. And I'm wondering, is that strategic so that she's showing the judges her versatility and you know what, I can adapt?
Yeah,
I can
absolutely.
do something different.
100%. You bump me from 1st to 2nd, I'm going to try to get back into that 1st place spot because if you finish in 1st, you don't have to ride in the last chance qualifier.
And 5 hits, so that's the difference. So she's got the 5 hits. Yes, Gaon Choi's got 4 hits, and they're so big. They're all so big. So that's going to be the difference is the 5 hits. She has not as technical of a run. So this is going to be very, very close for Mitsuki Ono and Gaon Choi between those 2 riders. And then that frontside 900, yeah, just beautiful.
All right, look how long she holds that grab for.
It's textbook.
Yeah, something tells me her score might take a minute to come in. There's a lot on the line here. There's a lot on the line.
Awaiting that 2nd run score from the judges. That first run was the 85.5, a 73.2, so it will in fact
That is
be Gong Choi who
interesting.
goes through
So a
into our final
73.2. She'll keep that first run score, an 85.5. So Mitsuki Ono, we will see her later in the last chance qualifiers. She can do it, absolutely. So we will see Gong Choi in the quarterfinals, 88.75. Will take that heat. Mitsuki Ono, second spot. We'll see her in the last chance qualifiers, also along with Lu Jiayu. Take a quick break and be back with more. Welcome back, everybody, to Snow League here in beautiful Aspen, Colorado. Well, we are just rounding out the qualifying heats, and now in heat number 4 for the women. And there's some big names. We've seen some fantastic riding already. 3 spots have been guaranteed into the quarterfinals, and now we have one more heat. And one more rider will earn their spot into the quarterfinals tomorrow, and then 2 more will go to the last chance qualifiers that will happen later on today. Our first rider to drop in this 4 heat, Leilani Etel, 23 years old, out of Germany. But we also have our resident judge, Connor Manning. And Connor, what can you tell us about what you've seen from the judging so far?
Yeah, Tina, like I was talking about before with the riders, they're really, really rewarding the amplitude and the execution. And I think where I heard you guys talking about with Mitsuki Ono's run in there, on her first hit, she really wanted to go for that 9. She wasn't trying to switch it up intentionally, missed the grab on that 720, and for them, that lowered the execution. I don't know if I agree with how low the score was. I think it should have been closer to her first score, but that's where they had it.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, because both T-Bird and I were sitting here like, what? That score seems really low.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It seems really low. But she pulled it off. I have to say, to us also, it looked like she just purposely did that 900 midway through the pipe instead of that first hit.
Yep.
All right. Leilani Etel, a rider coming to us from Germany, 23 years old. She's an Olympian. I spoke to her earlier. She is a huge surf fan. She's a surfer herself. And when we talked about the format of Snow League, I think she was the most excited out of everyone that I talked to, because she's so familiar with how good this format is.
So Leilani Etel, switch method to start things off. Into the cab 720.
Back around
and the front side 540. So back-to-back 5s there. She's maxing this pipe out. She's getting a lot of hits, ending her run with a front side 720. She made her Olympic debut in Beijing, finishing in 11th place, and now she is here in Aspen at the first stop of Snow League in Season 1. So there's that switch front side 720. Kind of reaching for that grab, just tapping it. Those are the things the judges are kind of deliberating about as we're waiting for those scores to come in. There's the front side 720. That was on her 5th hit as we are underway in Heat 4 of women's qualifiers.
Awaiting that score.
So she's waiting for her score. Coming in, it's a 43.5 on that run 1. She'll get one more run to improve upon that. Again, we are in the 4th heat of qualifying for the women's competition. After this, we will move on to the men's competition with some very big names. We've got Ayumu Hirano,
Lucas Foster,
Lucas Chase Blackwell.
Yeah, it's gonna get heated.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, all right, well, getting through the women here. Felicity Jeremiah, out of Canada, 17 years old, a goofy foot rider.
Yeah, our only goofy foot rider in this heat. Everyone else is regular footed. So she's gonna be dropping into her front side wall and taking the same approach as Leilani. So a switch air to fakie there. I guess it would be a switch air to regular, and then a method into a frontside 540. So back-to-back 540s from Felicity Jeremiah. And she's gonna call it a run right here and see where the judges place her right now. Leilani Attell sitting on a 43.5 in first place. Where will that one come in for the Canadian? So switching it up, drop it in switch here. Pop-Tart off the heels. That is a stylish trick right there. Good amplitude, and it looks like she got a little hung up on that front side 540. You see all that snow flying off the toe edge of her board, and then that made her miss her grab. So one tiny bobble like that can kind of throw their mental state, their whole idea of what the run looks like into ruin. So a 34.75 for Felicity Jeremiah. She will bump into second place behind Leilani Attell.
Go back to the top. Sena Tomita, 25 years old, out of Japan, a regular stance rider. Now she is coming in here with a lot of confidence after winning a World Cup.
Big frontside 900 into the backside of 540. There she goes, frontside 720. So she's gonna combo those back-to-back 720s. What's she got on her final hit? Front 5, and she's gonna sneak one more in with a method. So getting a lot out of that half pipe right there. Sena Tomita. Very good run.
There's a certain style with the Japanese riders. They, again, going back to Mitsuki Ono, Sena Tomita, the way they land on the half pipe, the way they go from wall to wall along the flat bottom and make those frontside 900s just look so easy and so smooth.
On that graphic there, you see the green plus sign next to the amplitude. So it's 9 feet 6 inches out of the pipe. The green plus sign means it was executed well. That's the execution icon. So you can kind of keep track of what the judges' thought processes are trick by trick on these replays.
Yeah, and it's great because in the past, so many athletes have just looked at their runs and like, oh, well, why did I get that score? Why did I get that score? But we now actually have more of a breakdown.
Exactly. So there you see the run summary. I think this is going to be a pretty high score. I'm seeing a lot of green.
Yeah, and even something like a 540, because the execution was done so well, it gets that higher score and that green mark. So, Sena Tomita, a fantastic score with her first run, 88.2. And she'll move into the top spot here in the fourth qualifying heat. Maddie Shafrick, American, out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, a former competitor, took a break, became a plumber, then became a coach, and at one point recently just decided, you know what, I can do this, I can keep doing this, and came back, absolutely has the talent, and told me, you know what, I want to do it differently this time. I want to react different now.
Absolutely.
I'm a smarter competitor now.
And let's see what she's got. Big old frontside air. I love a frontside wall stalefish grab into the backside 540. And then into the inverted front 7 and alley-oop. She got a little sideways there in the air. Something went wrong on the takeoff. We'll check that out in the replay. But you can see it in Maddie's riding, right? Sometimes it takes stepping away to make you realize kind of what you didn't prioritize in that first run and reshape your mental mindset and then come back to it with just a clear conscience, right?
I went a little crazy in there. Yeah, Nicole!
Look at that, 7 hits. And you can see just her smile, and you were talking about her mental state and her mental attitude, and it's made a huge difference for her this year. Another aspect of Maddie Shafrick I want to point out is her riding. She does alley-oops, tricks that a lot of other riders don't necessarily do. Judges do like to see that variety.
Well, and for so long it was just progression based, like one after the other, who can spin the most. And halfpipe snowboarding, you know, it progressed at such a fast rate that at a certain point they said, hey, let's go back and kind of revisit some of these originals, right? And you can mix them in with a highly technical run.
Absolutely, and then add those styles to it, making that grab, holding that grab a little bit longer. And that's so, just kind of goes back to that original snowboarding style and technique.
It's a bit of a tip of the cap.
Exactly. So a 60.2 for Maddie Shafrick slots her into second position. There were obviously spots in that run that she could clean up and improve on.
I think she can take that 60.25 and turn it into an 80.25 with just some small execution details.
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now it's Senna Tomito with the lead, Maddie Shafrick 60.25, and they each get one more run. So we're going to go back to the top, do it all over again here for qualifiers run number 2, and we're going to start with Germany's Leilani Ettel. 23 years old, competed at the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah, she's got one career top 5 finish in World Cup competition. That was 5th place at the 2021 World Cup in LAAX, Switzerland, which is the final stop of this Snow League tour next March. So Leilani just kind of getting ready, getting set. Probably got some music going. Currently in 3rd place, which is an okay spot to be, but she's really going to want to up her first run score of 43.5. There's that switch method into the cab 720.
And I'm going to ask you this. Looking at the pipe, the light, it's not ideal.
Exactly. Yep. When we first got here today, there was not a cloud in the sky. That cold open this morning, it was bluebird, it was warm, it was beautiful. We have had some clouds roll in, which can turn the light, as we call it, a little bit flat, right? Which means it takes away the contrast of the walls of the half pipe. It can kind of, you know, just flatten out the entire landscape in front of you.
Yeah.
It creates some problems.
Yeah, you don't have the depth perception that you need to see exactly where to land on the wall to keep that speed and carry it along and get those shoulders around, especially on those spins. Okay, Felicity Jeremiah out of Canada, 17 years old, a goofy foot rider. She now is sitting on a score of a 34.7. So at this point, she is even out of last chance qualifiers. So she does need to improve on that to even get up to a 3rd place position if she wants to compete later on today.
And you know, she just watched Leilani on her 2nd run, unable to put it down. So right now for Felicity, the door is left open.
Yeah.
All right, so Felicity Jeremiah dropping in, 17 years old, coming out of Canada, taking a similar approach to Leilani. There's that Pop-Tart that she did on the first hit of her first run into the method. That's a really cool combo. Frontside 540. And right now, if you're Felicity, just stay on the feet, put a run down. You're sitting on a 34.75. There's the frontside 720, and she's like, you know what? I'm good. I want to see what this score is. If she gets up into that 2nd or 3rd place spot, she will qualify for the last chance qualifier. So her experience here at Snow League will remain alive.
All right, so she does get 5 hits in the half pipe, starting out with that Pop-Tart.
Right after the Pop-Tart, she busted a method, holding on to that grab, landing high on the wall, into the front side 7 toward the bottom of the pipe. And then she's kind of riding out on her heels. She's like, you know what? I'm good. Let's see what this gets me.
She's like, I'm out of here. And she does it. She gets the job done. That pushes her into the 3rd place spot with a 48.7 and knocks Leilani Ettel down to 4th. So with one more competitor to go, it's Maddie Shafrick. So Maddie at this point, she's sitting on a 60.2. She is going. Sorry, we still have Senna Tomita, so
Yes.
I'm going to go back to Senna Tomita.
We got
Like,
Senna
we're just-
Tomita, but
Yes.
you're not wrong because Senna Tomita and Maddie Shafrick.
So Senna Tomita right now is in that top spot.
Exactly. She is currently qualified for tomorrow. However, Maddie Shafrick, who drops next, can mix that up. But right now, Senna Tomita looking to build on that first run score of 88.25 with a front side 900 into a backside 5. Look at that height meter, 10 feet out. There's the front side 7 into the cab 720. Holding that amplitude throughout the pipe. Front 5 and a method. She's got to be feeling really good right now.
That was a fantastic run. Now, so Senna Tomita, an 88.2 for that qualifying heat number 4. She's sitting in that top spot. But really, another thing to look out for her is the seeding for the quarterfinals.
Exactly. She would currently be, if it ended as is right now, the number 2 seed behind Maddie Mastro. Oh, I'm sorry. She would be the 3 seed. Okay, so things are about to get interesting as this score comes in. So she does have a lot to gain on building on that first run score of 88.25. It's in the judges' hands now.
That was a really good run. It just had everything.
Super clean.
Yeah, just checked all the boxes. And she does not improve. She'll hold on to that first run score of an 88.2. So right now, she is the number 3 seed in the quarterfinals. Maddie Mastro still holds that number 1 seed spot with a score of 90.
Wow.
But the question at this point, Maddie Shafrick, she has a 60.2. She had some problems. It was a good run, but there is room to improve.
100%. She can clean it up hit by hit, little by little, and I think she can put a run down in the 80s. Let's see what Maddie Shafrick has in store for the last run of women's heat 4. Frontside air into a backside 5. There's the crippler nose grab. You do not see that grab very often with the crippler into alley-oop and the switch back 5. So working on that technicality into the hawk and flip. And she's gonna get one more hit alley-oop. What?
And that was a great run from Maddie Shafrick.
You can tell Danny Cass is hyped right now.
He made her laugh. What did Danny Cass tell her? I just want to know what Danny Cass tells his riders before they drop in. So Maddie Shafrick, 7 hits, and the thing that sets her apart is, again, the alley-oops and the combinations of those alley-oops to like the switch backside 540.
Yeah, that was a very technical run. Amplitude was there. You're seeing the graphics down there for the execution. I love that crippler nose grab. That is such a cool trick.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of tell. I mean, we've called Maddie's runs in the past. She seems relaxed. She seems at ease. She's having fun with it.
Enjoying it so much more. She had the opportunity to come back and compete. She's like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm going to do it, and I want to do it a different way. I want to do it a better way. So her score comes in an 84.2, a big improvement. Slots herself into that second spot, and we will see Maddie Shafrick later on today in the last chance qualifier. But right now, we're gonna head down to the bottom of the pipe. In a minute, with Senna Tomita is the top spot after this qualifying heat number 4, 88.25. Maddie Shafrick in the second, 84.25, and Felicity Jeremia, we will see them in the last chance qualifiers, but Senna Tomita has guaranteed her spot in the qualifiers, and she's down at the bottom of the pipe with Naoko.
Hey, congratulations to Sana Tomita for making it to the next round. We're going to do this interview in Japanese, get her thoughts on her run. 予選通過おめでとうございます。今日のランについて、一言お願いします。
はい、難しいコンディションの中だったんですけど、しっかりメイクして、トーナメントを進めたのでよかったです。
So it was really difficult conditions, but she was able to make the best of it and move on to the to tomorrow's bracket challenge. So thank you very much. Congratulations. 頑張ってください。どうも。
Well, she overcame the difficult conditions and she will be guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals. We'll take a quick break from Snow League and be right back.
Welcome back to Aspen, the first stop on the inaugural season of the Snow League. We will be joined shortly by the man that built this vision, three-time Olympic gold medalist in Shaun White. But first and foremost, let's start with those women's heats. What is the big takeaway, Todd, as you were in there in the trailer watching this go down?
I think you've got to go with Maddie Mastro out of heat number one. You know, it's one thing to come out and lay down a first-run score, I'd say mid to upper 80s, but she comes out and lays down a 90. No one else touched that score, and so I think the shots are fired. I think she came out, she meant business, and it was a gutsy move. She came out and did the most difficult run on her very first run. You get two and you only keep your best, but if she falls in that first one, Tina, then all the pressure's on one run just to get herself into the next round.
Well, and then to add to that, she has more.
Yeah.
She has more that she can add to that run that she did in that first run. But the variable here, again, is going to be dropping in on the other wall. Have we seen Maddie drop in on the other wall before? You know, she just has to maybe change up where she puts her tricks on the walls and in the half pipe. But I'll tell you what, Maddie Mastro is looking on point.
How much are we learning about the qualifying strategies and how this may translate and transition into the men's when they hit the pipe?
Well, I think you got to go back to heat number 3, and I'm not going to get the judging going to get Connor all fired up on the judging, but I think it really comes into it. You saw Gaon out of South Korea. She threw a run with 4 hits.
Yep.
And you've seen riders come down and throwing 6 and 7 hits. So I think there's got to be a premium on the number of hits you do. Yeah, it's great to do 4 that are very technical, but if you're cranking out 6 or 7 hits, I almost give the benefit of that. So I would have thought Mitsuki Ono would have advanced out of that third heat. That's just my personal take.
Well, you have to point out, though, that Gaon Choi's run was how much distance she takes down the half pipe.
She drifts.
She goes so much bigger than I think a lot of the other riders. She has a lot more power when you watch her ride.
But when you say go bigger, she's not going amplitude to high bigger. She's going distance.
Up and then down. Yeah, but then she's also starting out with a switch backside 9. And I think that right there, the judges look at that and go, oh, there's a lot of risk with that trick. A lot of risk.
You ask, here you go.
What creates that distance down the pipe? That drift that you're talking about, what creates that?
So much speed. She's coming in so fast and so hot. And the way she takes off from the lip, and to Tina's point, it was a very technical first hit. It's a very high-risk, high-reward first hit, so you give her credit for that. But she did 4. She played it safe. I think if she would have just done one more, Tina, at the bottom, I think it would have been a big difference.
Well, she could have done one more.
Easily.
And I think at this point, because it was qualifiers and she fell on that first qualifying run, see right there, she sort of speed checks.
Yeah.
She probably could have done another trick, but she's like, I got to get out of the pipe. I just need to qualify.
She's smart. Yeah, she's smart. So she played the game and she played it right.
And you could see medical following her as she made her way out. So we'll make note of that, and we'll keep checking up on her as this day goes along. But really a good start for the Americans. Good start to this day. You guys mentioned Mastro, Sunny Alba as well.
Sunny Alba, and I said it before, this is the best I've ever seen her ride. She just seems to be absolutely on point. And, you know, we talked to Danny Cass earlier, who is the coach of Sunny Alba. She's got Maddie Shafrick. I mean, he could be playing a big part in this as well. You know, he's got a very relaxed attitude. He's been in those positions, in those situations where he stood on top of the half pipe in high pressure situations like this. And, you know, he could be making a big difference for those athletes.
I think Sunny Alba's second run showed maturity. You know, she took that 9-year break. She comes back. It just showed maturity. I just think Sunny Alba, the way she rode that second run was huge.
All right, so we are filling in the bracket. Let's take a look at this bracket. Walk us through it. What catches your attention as we look ahead to the finals day, and we still have the last chance qualifier to come?
Ooh, all right. Well, we look at that last chance qualifier. I mean, if you look at Heat 1, you've got Elizabeth Hosking, Brooke DeHaan.
Yep.
That's going to be a great match. You know, those two can really Either one could get that position. Sai Shu Tong was a little bit of a surprise for me. I really thought that she would have already secured her spot into the quarterfinals, but Sena Tomita, really no surprise there. You know, she mentioned the conditions were a little tough at the end, but she overcame them. She is coming into this with a lot of confidence after a very big win. But again, Gaun Choi.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Little housekeeping, it's Maddie Shafrick that took the 9-year break and came back, and that's the rider that I was talking about, showing the maturity at 30 years of age. So I like that. I'm still sticking with the Japanese riders. I think Mitsuki Ono, Sena Tomita, I think they really have something. Gaun Choi, if she's healthy and she can ride this thing out, she's certainly going to be in the mix. But I think Maddie Mastro has set a bar right now, a tone, so to speak, with a 90 on that first run that everyone's going to be like, well, that was her first run. What is Maddie going to have on March Madness on Saturday when we're in the knockout format?
But my question is, okay, well, she's got to, again, drop in on the other wall.
Right, yeah.
What's her first trick going to be on that wall? And
We shall
then
wait.
where is she going to put the double crippler? Like, this makes it, that's what makes this exciting, is you're like, okay, she has the crippler, the double crippler, but now what can she do on that other wall, those first hits?
That's what makes this format so awesome.
It's
I mean,
so
this
great.
knockout format, March Madness on snow. It's going to be fantastic.
So let's get Connor in on this conversation. So we're mentioning the bracket. We're filling this thing in, Connor. We're seeing these scores. What have we learned so far about the judging that we've been noticing thus far?
Thus far, the thing that I have noticed the most about the judges is they are really rewarding execution for these riders. You have to be landing your tricks perfectly, getting the grab as long as you can, and really, really just riding to perfection. Those little green square or green circles with the plus through them, look for those at the bottom of the score because that judges are really rewarding that as well as amplitude.
You don't think they're getting a little stingy, Connor? Talk to those guys. Tell them, bump it up a little bit. Let's juice some of these scores.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Todd, on Mitsuki Ono and Gaun Choi. I do believe Gao should have taken the top spot on that one. She did have the 3 9s in her run as well as a 720. So the technical difficulty of those tricks compared to the 6 runs of Mitsuki, I think if she was able to not have that bobble on the top of her run, Mitsuki might have had a real chance at taking Gaun down in that top spot.
How closely do you think the men's athletes have been watching not only the strategies and the mindsets that have been hitting the half pipe thus far, but also the judging and the scores that we've seen so far?
I definitely think they're watching. I mean, they'd be crazy not to watch it. And I think you get a tone of how the officials, I mean, Jack, you've worked football and basketball. You get a feel for how the referees are calling the game.
Always.
So it's like, oh, they're calling ticky-tack stuff. I'm going to notice that. So I think they're saying, okay, we want to see a premium. We want to see technical, as Connor pointed out. They want to see technical moves. You can go big, but we want to see technical and we want to see execution spot on.
There you go. I'm really curious what's going through the mind of Shaun White as he's sitting here watching this, because you dream this up and you build the plan and you go, here's how we're going to do it, and then all of a sudden the day arrives and you're sitting there watching this and finally you're going, I launched, I'm the founder of the Snow League, and it's been a dream and a vision of his for a long time.
Yeah, and so much energy at this event, and it's just qualifying. Again, this is just qualifying right now. We got the big day tomorrow.
It sure is. As we look ahead to the men's division, we'll ask this to Shaun in just a minute when he steps in here. Any names that we need to have at the top of our mind heading into it?
Ayumu Hirano. I mean, I just start with, I mean, he's just a different level. And when you see him come out there and he drops in, he's just at a different level.
Yeah, Ayumu Hirano, the rest of the Japanese, and then you got Chase Blackwell and Chase Josie and the other Americans. So, again, the men coming up next, and it's just qualifying. So we got a big show still to go.
All right, we are launching the Snow League from Aspen, Colorado. When we come back, the founder, 3-time Olympic gold medalist. I see him hanging out behind the camera. Shaun White joins the set. We're just getting started with the Snow League. Welcome back to Aspen, and man, are we having fun. The first stop of the inaugural season of the Snow League, and we are joined by the man that built this vision, brought this weekend to life, 3-time Olympic gold medalist and Shaun White, as we watch him fly and stand there at the half pipe. Man, I just think about this. Nobody knows this sport, snowboarding, better than you. Nobody cares about it more than you. How did this whole vision begin?
You know, it's been a long journey. Obviously pulled inspiration from my own career, and I remember having this undefeated season. I was about 16, and I won all the competitions I entered, and you know, it's a big accomplishment. I got to the end of the season. I'll never forget this interviewer asking me, "Hey, amazing job, but how does it feel to not be the world champion?" Oh, and I was like, well, I thought she was joking. I was like, what? What did I not do? And it just painted, I wasn't mad or anything. I was just like, wow, this is interesting. It just painted a clear picture that the season for snowboarding is very disconnected. There's no common thread that carries everyone through. So, in retirement, I was sitting there thinking, like, how can I take this time and the voice I have within the sport and, change it for the next generation? So I started calling athletes. I started calling resort owners and operators. I was like, oh, would you be interested in something like this? And the feedback was incredible. So, here we are today. It's a pinch me sort of moment, a dream become a reality, and I'm so thrilled, and thank you all for being here.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just love the passion that you have. You brought passion to your career as a competitive athlete, but now you're bringing that same passion, enthusiasm, and energy to this.
Yeah.
And it shows. And I think it shows the athletes can see it as well, and I think they're feeding off of it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I had another moment was incredible. I called it my Braveheart moment. I gave this big speech to the athletes for the welcome, and it was just incredible, And I had this moment. I'm like, look, it's not about me. It's not about this competition. Well, not exactly the competition, but it's not about the event organizers, all these people. It's about you, the athletes. And this is our moment to create a tour and league of our own and make it better for the following athletes. And it was really amazing.
I think what's great about this whole thing, Shaun, is your career. And I'm old enough to remember you running at the U.S. Open at Stratton when you came out as a 9 and 10-year-old kid and like, who is this guy? He's lighting up. And I remember the year with the hair and the flying tomato years and all those things. And then the Olympics, and 5 Olympics have come and gone.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, and you've always said this, when you were done, you wanted to give back to the sport.
Yes.
And is this how you're giving back to the sport?
Yeah, no, it's an amazing thing. I feel like, gosh, through my career, I've been able to have a certain level of success that I don't know my fellow athletes have gotten to that place. Right. And now this is my moment to bring together all the athletes, put them on NBC, bring them to the best resorts in the world, the best facility, the half pipe, highest prize purse, and really highlight them and bring them hopefully that level of success and beyond. It can go bigger. It can go much bigger, and we're here to prove that today.
And I've got to ask you, since we're in Aspen and it's March, and Jack and I love the March Madness, are you a fan of March Madness, the basketball tournament? Is that what kind of thought, hey, why don't we do that for hoops?
Yeah, no, look, like I had to dig deep in my own sort of experience within the sport, and then I'm like, well, look, it's not just about the athletes and competing in this, but it's like the viewers at home. I want to make it more understandable. And for me, March Madness, the bracketing system, the head-to-head, it's just it builds the drama, the excitement. There's room for upsets, and I was explaining that at my welcome speech, and people were getting pumped up. They're like, oh, I understand now.
One shiny moment.
Head-to-head with my competitor, and I'm thinking, look, you got to play your opponent. What are they going to do? What are you expecting? What are their bag of tricks? What did you see in practice? Like, it leaves so much more excitement, and I'm really excited to see how it all plays out.
Just on a personal level, what has this week felt like for you? Because I'm used to you being the guy we're watching drop in last with the pressure on. Now all of a sudden you're the commish, you're Dana White, you're Roger Goodell walking around. On a personal level, what has this felt like?
I'm wearing the jacket, representing.
Man.
No, it's been a mixed bag. It's been amazing. Look, I got my mom here. I got my friends and family out. It's a monumental moment for me, for the sport. So that's been incredible. But I'd be lying to say, they made me one of the jerseys with my name on it. I put it on in my room, white USA with the. I felt. I just felt that competitive. I was like, I was like, why am I not competing?
We got a little thing called the Olympics coming up in less than a year.
I had to check myself, but I definitely in my room was like, okay, rider ready, let's go.
And in Aspen as well, where you've had so much success.
Yeah, of course. No, a lot of memories here, a lot of amazing moments, but I'm thrilled. It's so nice to walk around, talk to the athletes, talk to the coaches. What do you think? What do you feel? And give me your feedback. Like, what can we do better? We want to improve. This is the beginning. Yeah. This is just the beginning. But I'm thrilled and humbled to be here and be using this moment to hopefully, change the future of the sport.
You brought up the jerseys. I love the jerseys. I love the jerseys that the athletes are wearing, and I know they do as well. Yeah. We were doing the interviews beforehand, just getting some feedback from the athletes, and they show up in front of the camera and they with their jersey and their number.
Stand a little taller.
Yeah,
I love it.
I have to say, they're like, I'm going to be number 42 for the rest of the season. And that's their number. That's it. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was incredible too. I was walking around. I'm trying to, see everything and get around. And I had these two very, very young kids walk up to me and they're like, we're going to be in your snow league one day. And I was like, oh my God. It's an incredible feeling. And yeah, I think that's exactly it. Like a lot of the athletes have come up to me and they're like, man, I just feel like I'm part of something special, something bigger. And I got my uniform. I got my moment, my number. I'm ready. But it's been great. And again, all of this was just dreamt up. And I was thinking like, how can we be different? How can we be unique as an event, for the broadcast, for everything, and every detail has been, I trip out because I go to the top and I'm like, I've just seen this on computer renderings, not the greatest renderings. So I'm like, oh my God, this is a very incredible setup.
Well, when you walked in today, I thought the pride of Torrey Pines High School was there, and you were wearing the Letterman's jacket. But from Torrey Pines High School to this, I mean, this is kind of, modern luxury on the cover of Aspen magazine. You flash back a couple decades ago, that was not going to happen. And now here we are today. It's kind of a full circle.
No, it's amazing. It's incredible. I was so proud. I love Aspen. I love being here. And to be on the cover of the Aspen magazine was incredible. We got our big white space board on the front there. Another amazing feeling is to have Brooke DeHaan, one of our athletes for white space, crushing it in the half pipe. Many levels are exciting for me here. I'm cheering on our athletes. I feel very proud of them. It's just incredible. It's time's flown by, and especially I mentioned my mom's here. She's like, you were just such a terrible little redheaded kid, and look at us today. She was right. But to be here today, hosting all of this and really being the glue, bringing everyone together, just feels very humbling.
Well, it's amazing. I know people like Virgil Abloh and other people will be very proud of what you've done.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You mentioned that white space snowboard of yours. I'm curious what your relationship is like with that board today. When do you break that thing out? Is it fun for you getting in the half pipe? What's your relationship like with it today?
No, it's amazing to look back at footage like this of how far it's come. A lot of these half pipes were dug by hand, and now we have this 22-foot machine cutting the pipe here front row in Aspen. The sport's come so far. And then for me to, I've ridden for these incredible companies my whole life, learning from them, and then to take that next big step, just like this event, and like, hey, I'm going to create something of my own, and creating our brand White Space. And I like to talk about this because not many people know this, but the term white space, obviously white was a play on my last name, but the white space, it means a blank canvas, a void, waiting for something new, a gap in the market. And I really feel like I've applied that sort of thought process to my entire career. Watching my competitors, like, hey, he's doing this trick, he's doing that trick. Well, what are they not doing? And where can I be, the person that stands out by doing something unique and new? And same thing with this event. It's something that common thread I carry through my life and career. I'm like, okay, look at what's out here in the competitive field. How can we be unique? How can we be different? How can we raise the bar? Highest prize purse, equal pay for men and women. All these things that are so important that aren't being done at other events, but we want to set the tone.
So walk me through your day to day. Where have you been watching? What are your thoughts on the women's heats and what we've seen thus far?
No, it's been amazing. I'm losing my voice because I was screaming Matty Mastro, double flip right at the top, first hit. It was an incredible feeling. I've been down in the corral area. I was on the very top of our snow club. I've been running around. And then I was down over talking to some of the athletes. Hey, how's it feeling? How's the pipe riding? Thank goodness we got some amazing weather. It was dumping snow last night. A lot of flights didn't make it in. It was snowing so hard, and now beautiful sunshine, and but I've been running around, and now I'm here with you guys. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're talking to Shaun. We're going to check in with Connor Manning and see what he's got. Connor, lots going on as the women have wrapped up. But wait, before we cut Shaun loose, Connor's going to ask you a question.
Good, okay.
Here we go. This is good. 60 Minutes moment. Go ahead, Connor.
What's up, brother? How are you doing? Shaun, good to see you, man. I had one quick question because it's something we've been talking about all week. With the strategies these riders have to go through in the bracket system, what would be your strategy if you were dropping in that bracket system today?
No, I mean, it really depends on, a great question, by the way. It really depends on who I'm dropping against. And so imagine I was seated first. Well, you know, give myself a little,
give you the nod.
So I'm going to play against the last place qualifier. And I got to imagine I want to do a run that's competitive, but not enough to show everything that I've got. But imagine whoever's going against me is going to throw everything they got. And if they land that run, I mean, how am I going to, I got to raise the bar. So it's a bit of a gamble. It's a lot of strategy. And then it depends on which wall I drop it on, because, you know, maybe one run that I have is, you know, it's just more consistent for me. So now I'm going, okay, do I go with the consistent run or do I take a chance and then come with the consistent later? A lot of strategy. And I really love this head-to-head battle. It creates the drama, it creates the excitement, and exactly that. We're going to see how it all plays out, so I'm excited.
Well, I know I speak for all the fans. We'd love to see a Shaun White versus Ayumu Hirano matchup one more time again, but maybe not this year, but we're going to get it worked out. We are going to take a quick break here in Aspen. We thank the three-time Olympic gold medalist and the man in charge of the Snow League for getting us all here. We'll be back to Aspen for much more right after this.
Thank you, buddy.
Back in Aspen, Colorado, Buttermilk Mountain here on day number 1 of Snow League as we continue on and get ready for the men's competition to kick off. And pretty soon we're going to unleash the beast. We've got the best free skiers popping in with us. Hannah Fahlhaber, excuse me, and Alex Ferrer, locals here, getting it done. So Hannah, we'll start with you. What's it like coming to Aspen and seeing this whole thing? I mean, you guys have the X Games here, you have other events, but then Snow League shows up and it's like the top, the cherry on top.
Yes, it is. It is just amazing to have so many high-level events in the hometown, and to have Shaun's event, the inaugural event in hometown Aspen. It's so fun and so exciting to be here.
Two-time Olympic medalist Alex Ferrer. Alex, this is your backyard. I mean, we saw you in the pipe the other day. First of all, how good is the pipe?
The pipe is fantastic.
Frank Wells did a number.
Frank is the best.
And how do you feel about possibly joining the Snow League?
It's super exciting just to have a pinnacle event like this in Aspen, and then we are not competing in it this year, but we get to, I guess, see foreshadowing what's going to happen for us. It's really, really exciting and really great job.
You know, to that point, how many times do you get to go to an event before you are actually competing or before you're part of it and knowing like, oh, what can I do? Like, what do I need to do? And it almost fires you up, maybe even a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. We never get an opportunity like this, and I'm a huge fan of Shaun, and just to see him take a leap of faith and go for it and just do it in the perfect right way, I really, really want him to succeed, and it's really exciting to be a part of.
I feel like being the oldest guy at this table that there was a day when skiers and snowboarders would not get together in a contest. And now I feel like that is completely gone. I see free skiers and snowboarders hanging out all the time. Tom Wallace, one of my best friends in the whole world. It's just kind of like the synergy now. We all kind of want the same thing.
I mean, absolutely. All these guys and gals are our friends, and we see them all across the world, and they're exciting to be around, and they're great people. So to be able to watch them compete is going to be awesome.
And you appreciate what they do as much as they appreciate what you're doing.
I definitely appreciate what they do. I don't know if they appreciate it, but I do.
I'm sure they do. In fact, I know they do.
I know they do.
Yes, absolutely.
Hannah, as you're getting ready, obviously it's an Olympic year. You're part of the Stiefel U.S. free ski team. How are preparations going? How are you feeling? You've had a pretty solid year.
Yeah, I mean, battling a little bit of an injury, but just rehabbing and getting ready for next season. I'm really excited to hopefully be competing in the Snow League next season and, of course, the Olympics. And so just getting ready for all that.
When we talk about free skiing and the progression of the sport, when you came in, and you're still relatively young, but seeing what he's doing, the runs compared to just 2 or 3 years ago, massive change.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked up to Alex my whole life, and it's just so fun to watch the progression of the sport and really excited to see where it goes.
Preparations for Italy underway?
Yeah.
You've had a pretty good year this way. That's an understatement. Pretty good year.
The last couple of years.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been working super hard with Hannah in the gym, and just to get out there and do my absolute best and see all this hard work unfold in front of my eyes is the most beautiful thing I could have ever imagined. And going into the Olympics, it's going to be a very exciting year. We're going back to the Alps, Milano, Cortina. It's exciting time. So, yeah, I see some gold in our future.
I've been bragging on him here a little bit, folks. He dropped into the pipe yesterday, something that not a lot of people will do, men or women, and it is a beast. This thing is 24-foot walls, and AF said, you know what, I'll have a piece of this. How about this?
Yeah, we're warming up here.
Come on.
It's a little warm-up right there.
It's got to be the conditions in the skis, right?
I want to know about the pulse.
Oh, the pole, that's coming, that's coming.
Yeah.
I always say if Alex is swinging the poles at the bottom, you're in trouble because he is feeling good about the run.
Yeah, so I'm doing a switch left side, cord 720 here, and then we're going to finish off with the right side double cord 1260 safety. And, you know, Frank's just the best. And there's a little pole spin for you. I was excited. That comes out subconsciously and naturally, so.
Where is the end? Is there an end? I mean, we're talking about 23. I mean, where does it stop? The craziest. You're talking about 12s being just a stock maneuver now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had saw the end last year or the year before or even the year before that, and then I just am completely in awe and mind blown about the tricks that people are doing. They're just coming up with them, and they're training so hard, and they're practicing, and then next thing you know, people are doing something that you never thought was possible. And honestly, myself too, I'm like, wow, am I really doing this right now? I'm scared.
Well, yeah, that's such a good point, because it's like not only is it the other athletes that are pushing the sport and doing the tricks, it's like it's you. It's both of you who are like, oh wait, no, this is me. This is my time and my turn to actually push the sport and do these new tricks that you never thought were possible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's cool.
I think
It's
it's
great.
It's awesome because we like go throughout the year and we like plan our runs in our head, and we may not even think that a trick is possible, and then we go airbag it and train it, and then all of a sudden you have it in a run, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and what a great feeling. Format, right?
Yeah, let's talk format here. And don't worry, we're not going to let you off the hook. We want picks from both of you. What do you think about the knockout format?
I love it. I think it's so cool, and I think it allows a lot of different opportunities for athletes that you may not see on the podium in like regular events. So I think that the new format is awesome, and I'm really excited to be able to see it in this event and then kind of come up with a strategy for next season.
Alex, you like the knockout? You and Nick Gepper going head-to-head in a knockout format? What do you think? I'd pay money for that.
I'm super excited about the knockout format. I want to stare into my competitor's eyes, and I want him to feel my soul, because I'm coming for him.
I believe that. Absolutely, 110%.
Do you have a pick for the snowboarding? What do you think? Who do you like?
I mean, I am just a huge fan of Ayumu Hirano, and it's going to be really hard to beat him in this format, in any format. That guy is just an alien from outer space, so...
Any athletes you're looking forward to watching here?
I also have to go with Ayumu and probably Maddie Mastro as well. Yeah.
How about her first run? Did you see that?
Yeah,
Goes
I
out there
did.
and uncorks a 90?
Oh, it was great. It was so fun to watch.
From an athlete's perspective, when you go out there, and a lot of times it's a 2 or 3 run format, best run counts, and you drop a 90 or score like that on run number 1, are you just like, weights off your shoulders, you can just sit back and just go full Alex Ferrer on the rest of the field?
Yeah, you're feeling great. I mean, you're in a good spot. You're always going to want to push more, so hopefully you can bump the 90 up to something more, but getting a 90 first run it's always a relief.
Hannah Faulhaber, Alex Ferrer, they are members of the U.S. Stiefel U.S. Free Ski team. You will see them coming up shortly. Right now, we want to take a look at the schedule of what's to come still here on day number 1. And there is the schedule. Well, we're going to talk about the schedule of the overall tour. We're starting off here in Aspen. Then we're on to Secret Garden. Alex, I know you've skied there before. It's got some crazy terrain and some winds. It'll be awesome to be there as well. Then back to Aspen, February 26th and 28th of 2026. And then wrap things up in beautiful LAAX, Switzerland. That's how it all plays out. We'll be back to Aspen after this.
The Snow League is off and running from Aspen. Jack Collinsworth, Tina Dixon, and Todd Harris. The women's heats have gone. The men's heats are on the way, and it is our pleasure to welcome B. Kim, a rising star in the women's division. So let's start with the energy here in Aspen. How does this compare to some of the other events that you've been to through the years?
I mean, the Snow League has done an amazing job of creating an atmosphere where the athletes feel so important, and you're like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity for us to showcase our riding, showcase our personalities, so the public can get to know us better.
I agree with that. You show up to this event and you're like, what is that I feel? This is a really cool energy. It is, and I've seen it from the athletes, and I'm feeling it from the athletes, and talking to them that, you know, the focus is on you. The focus is on the athletes. It's on the snowboarding, the half pipe, and you feel it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not an athlete, we feel it.
Yeah, everybody feels it. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
We're always told never to speculate on injuries, but I know we haven't seen you much this year competing.
Yeah.
What is your situation, and when are we going to see you back on the snow again?
So I had a little shoulder thing back in December, summer, so I'll be out for another few months, and hopefully I'll be back in Mammoth for some spring training, getting ready for the next year, you know. Kind of a big year, so
Will
yeah.
you head Southern Hemisphere if you're healed up end of the summer?
Yeah, that sounds like the plan for now. Excited to always go back down there.
And you're juggling all this with high school and online classes and deciding where you're going to go to college. We would fully let you break some news if you like. We'll put some hats out here. Jack, you know how it works. What college are you going to take your talents to kind of thing, if you want to share that?
Let's just, you know, focus on
Inquiring
snowboarding
minds
right
want
now.
to know where B. Kim's going to go to
Got the
college.
Olympics coming up.
Ivy Leagues will be clamoring for it.
Oh
Jack's
my
trying to sell
God.
Notre Dame. I'm telling you.
Notre Dame will be
Papa
good.
Harris over here.
I know,
like,
seriously. It's like I'm talking to my own dad. Yeah.
Sorry. What have been your thoughts on the women's heat so far? Where have you been watching, and what have you been thinking?
Well, I was standing down there in the corral watching, and it's so weird being an athlete and not competing, obviously.
Yeah.
So to be able to see all my friends out there and knowing how hard they've been working for this, it's been, I don't know, it's just new, and it's getting everyone fired up. Yeah.
What did you think of Maddie Mastro's first run? How gutsy was that to come out and throw that down?
I mean, I love Maddie. She's always down to throw it down and go for it. So I was expecting that from her, and so when she stomped it, I was like, yeah, let's get it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this because you know ride with these women all the time. The other wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other wall.
What do you think?
Wall.
If I can ask you a question, what do you think she'll do on that? If she's dropping in left side, what do you think her first trick would be?
I'm not entirely sure, but you know, when we were in China earlier this year where she got her first World Cup win, we saw her bust out that really big back 9, so that could be a possibility. We also saw in China a more technical back 7, so that could be something as well. We could also see her drop in switch with that hawk and flip that she likes to do at the end of her runs. So it really opens up for a lot of opportunities.
You know, if the snowboarding thing doesn't work out for her, the TV thing might be a good play for you. She's Jack. Did you notice that?
She can step in and call an event right now.
That's Collinsworth level breaking down of
I don't
tape
know
right
about that.
there.
He already has like your future plan.
Oh my
I know.
gosh,
I feel like I need your help.
I will say this, though, B. You just mentioned a
You
couple of
would.
places. You've been at all these places. You've competed at Secret Garden, and these are all places that Snow League is going to. LAAX, Switzerland.
Yeah.
These are the pinnacles. What is it like having a tour like that where it's just basically the creme de la creme?
I mean, we have the World Cup circuit as well, but to be able to have the Snow League and have these different events and these different stops, I don't know, it's exciting. You get to go to all these different places, and you know them, but it's different because it's the Snow League, and you're like, wait, actually, it's the same but different. I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, it's very fun.
I want to go back for one question on the 2-wall approach. So as a competitor, we've talked baseball, like switch hitting, basketball, somebody going to their offhand and finishing at the rim. How would you compare it? How hard really is it to go both ways off both walls?
I would say it's pretty similar to baseball, you know, switch hitting, or like golf, having to hit your opposite way, or like riding with your left hand, but obviously on a more extreme level because you're putting your body on the line. And you have to like engage all of your whole body together, and you have to switch your brain to be like, okay, we're going this way now, like now I'm left-handed, or something like that. So it's definitely a balance of being able to control your mind and body and put them together. So yeah.
Okay, because I know you're a straight A student and you're going to some fine institution for college, we're going to put the brackets up and we're going to put you to work.
Oh, gosh.
Who do you like? And they're not going to see this, so you can say, boy, I really like this. And who surprised you in that first round?
Okay, Heat 1, I pretty much saw that playing out like that.
Yep.
You know, we've got some strong names with the Canadians, but Maddie, obviously, with her double, such a unique trick.
True.
So I saw her there. Heat 2, my best friend Sunny. Top
How
spot.
about that?
Very, very proud of her. She's been really working hard this year. Put that alley-oop McTwist in at the end of her run, and I think that could have put her over the edge with a little style trick. But Tong Tong is a giant competitor as well with her amplitude and her big tricks, as well as the alternative tricks like air to fakies. Heat 3, you know, that's a stacked heat. I would say that's one of the most stacked as well. Same with Heat 4, everybody. That's pretty much how I saw it played out as well. So, you know, the quarterfinals and the LCQs, it's gonna be a lot.
Who's winning it all?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, it could be Gaon, it could be Maddie, it could be Mitsuki, it could be Senna, it could be anybody. It's anybody's game, you know, and I think that's what the format provides.
How close are all these women competitors? Is there like a group chat amongst these, or is it some that break off and become friends? Like, how does it actually work?
I feel like everybody's so friends. It's hard not to be when you spend so much time together and everyone knows exactly what each other's going through. So
I love it. thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to see you. Can't wait to see as this year unfolds, and we'll come back and set up the men's heats when we return. The Snow League is off and flying from beautiful Aspen, Colorado.